I think we've moved from sustainability and being like the right thing to do to being more critical. As REITs, for example, that have higher penetration of Energy Star benchmark building and LEED properties are outperforming their peers, I think that investors are paying attention and they're beginning to associate companies and portfolios and companies that run their portfolios better with like bottom line results.
There's continued growing transparency in the sustainability space. Globally, there's organizations such as CDP, GRI, SASB that are driving transparency as it relates to sustainability. If we now filter down to real estate, the Global Real Estate Sustainability Benchmark is a very important organization. This organization has investor members that are representative of $5.5 trillion of institutional capital. We're definitely paying attention to that.
I think we'll continue to see demand for increased transparency and disclosure on sustainability. We believe that transparency is a positive for the market. We've seen that with the emergence of GRESB over the past 3 or 4 years. Things such as the Carbon Disclosure Project and GRI. I think we'll continue to see an increase in requests for disclosure, both at a corporate level as well as an asset level. We're seeing that now in certain markets with building labeling requirements.
Now that we're starting to have to be transparent about building performance data, and we're starting to see a little bit of this already, but I really think, you know, I believe that in the future, you know, you're going to be able to take your smartphone and go to a building and you know, take a picture of the building and up will come all the performance data.
I think the most important thing that we will do going forward, and we certainly did it last year, but we'll do it going forward, is to represent what we think is material in our business as it relates to energy efficiency and sustainability directly to our investors, and do that through a sustainability report that talks about the metrics that we think are material, to showcase some of the best programs that we have, and really talk about our strategy and goals so that people understand where we've been and where we're going.
I think really tenant engagement is the next frontier, and I know we all talk about it a lot, but to be honest, there hasn't been a huge amount of activity on that front. And when you look at a REIT like Kimco and you think about sort of the division of impacts when it comes to something like energy use, the vast majority of energy use that occurs on the property, on a Kimco property, happens inside of the building, and it's driven by what our tenants are doing.
A lot of our management companies have been exploring ways to get the guests involved in sustainability. They've rolled out programs like where you can choose to not wash your linens or things like that. So I see more of a focus on that in guest engagement and how they can help us reduce the energy consumption of our properties.
You know, one of the ones that I think is going to hit us probably sooner than people think is on the regulatory side, maybe mandatory ratings of buildings that have to be published. You're seeing that in some states, California, for example, and New York.
I think one of the areas that I'm seeing a lot more interest in, and you know, I think the tea leaves are there to be read, is really around what I would call it grid stability or grid resiliency. You know, and it sounds very wonky, but if you start thinking about renewable energy, demand response, battery storage, a lot of the new data and analytics tools that are out now to manage energy use and consumption, you see all this converging, and that really becomes a critical component of managing the reliability of the utility grid.
In the corporate sustainability world, I think materiality is the buzzword of the year. GRI, of course, bringing that along with their new reporting guidelines. And then it'll be interesting to see what companies define as material topics. I can say so much as for the retail real estate industry, I think that water and waste are becoming more and more important, especially in the US. Waste is gaining importance, recycling. And then also it's interesting to see how the social topics are slowly gaining importance as well.
I believe it's time for commercial brokers to step up and step into the sustainability box and commit to learning why the efforts of the people on the ground every day towards sustainability really make a building a better building. It's time that they use this information to market the assets and to show their clients why a particular building or a particular landlord may be better for them than the other.